Welcome to another video. This will be of interest to you if you are interested in the artificial intelligence sector, and particularly from a business perspective. Not from a technical perspective, but from the business side of the sector, such as what the important companies are, what are the merger and acquisition transactions in the sector, what particular subdivisions of artificial intelligence exist, and what low-tech economy sectors are being disrupted by artificial intelligence. And this will help you whether you are a job seeker trying to get into the artificial intelligence sector, or if you're in venture capital or investment banking and want a primer on the various companies within the artificial intelligence sector. Now, I wrote this report some time ago, September 2017. Certain aspects of it are a little bit outdated, but there are many aspects that are not outdated, and I will describe each of them in detail. A video like this also serves to unify my YouTube audience with what I do for my primary day job. And in my day job, I'm seen as an artificial intelligence luminary. Who decides who is a luminary or not? It's hard to say. But considering that I've been invited to speak to audiences of up to 3,000 people on 4 different continents, I have featured in a number of television shows, I have been featured in a Google Talk, and I teach this subject, among others, at Stanford University. If you believe that qualifies someone as knowledgeable about this particular subject, then hopefully this video is of interest to you, and you can get something useful out of this report, which is available online for free and in a link in the description box below. This is a report I wrote when I was with a firm called Woodside Capital Partners. I have since moved on from there to greener pastures, and they've had no dedicated focus on artificial intelligence or fintech, the other area for which I have done such reports, since the time I was there, as far as what I can tell from their website. So don't contact me at the email on this report. You should instead contact me through the email of this YouTube channel or through LinkedIn. But without further ado, we can get into the report. You can see the table of contents over here, and as I scroll down, we get into AI overview and market trends, and you can read about this to learn about the basics of the AI industry and why it emerged at the time that it did. And remember, this report was written in September 2017. Now, some aspects of my opinions have changed a little bit relative to what I wrote over here over 3 years ago. One is that I do not believe neural networks are ultimately the future of artificial intelligence because they are not completely fail-safe. They're non-deterministic, and I'm in fact involved in a company right now that is still in stealth, that is producing deterministic AI and has a technology that supersedes the neural net paradigm and also supersedes concepts like machine learning and deep learning. And I will divulge more about that when the company is more out of stealth. But for the time being, other aspects of this report are still very useful. You can scroll through and look at artificial intelligence revenue, AI industry verticals, and even though this is from 2017, not too many things have changed. You can see the various subsectors of artificial intelligence: conversational AI bots, computer vision, automobiles, robotics, cybersecurity, and all of these others, the 100 big AI companies as per the CB Insights AI 100 list, and more updated versions of this list have also been published later than this one, but not a huge change among the candidates here. And this gives you an idea of, if you're interested in healthcare AI, for example, these are the big companies in there. If you're interested in fintech and insurance AI, these are the companies to focus on if you're a job seeker or if you just want to do something with any of these companies. So this is a very big and important springboard to start from, particularly more recent versions of this CB Insights AI 100. M&A activity, if you're interested, quarterly M&A history. A lot of small AI companies have been acquired. Bigger ones have not really been acquired much at all, partly because a lot of the big acquirers are still doubtful about the valuations of certain AI companies and whether they have a technology that is really provable in the market, or will they be swept aside by a new technological revolution, which again ties to the company I'm involved with right now, which could supersede a lot of the technologies of companies featured in this report. Financing history, if you're interested in that from a venture capital or investment banking perspective. Activities of the top acquirers, unsurprisingly, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Intel, Facebook, and others are the big acquirers of AI companies. CB Insights has more updated versions of this chart as well. But what is really of interest here is my description of the impact of artificial intelligence on 10 major sectors of the economy: autonomous vehicles, medicine, and so forth. So you will gain a lot by reading these sections. and also my own content about how artificial intelligence does not eliminate employment of humans, as you have seen from the video right before this one. It in fact creates more jobs because artificial intelligence is a supercharger of entrepreneurship. Types of businesses that could not have existed with a certain payroll cost can exist under artificial intelligence because you need fewer people to do the same amount of work, thereby making more startup companies and more entrepreneurial activities viable as functional businesses. Now, as we proceed to section 2, M&A transactions, you can look at that if it is of interest to you, but this is of course a section that is out of date since it has not been updated beyond the publication date of this report, September 2017. But there's a lot of detail about the types of AI companies that got acquired, and the general pattern of acquisitions and selection criteria has continued. Private placement financing, same thing. It has not been updated, of course, but you can look at the size of venture capital rounds and the footnotes around each of those financings. And now we get to the portion that has considerably more longevity to it and could certainly be of interest to you as a job seeker, venture capitalist, or investment banker. The big acquirers are the usual suspects. You can go through the profiles of each: Amazon, Alibaba, AOL. It's a whole directory of those. However, you can see the actual acquisitions done and the acquisition principles and philosophy of what each corporation is looking for. Now, the most important section, private company profiles. There are over 100 private AI companies featured here that have received venture capital financing. And while some of the information is obviously out of date, some companies have been acquired, others have gotten more financing, a small number of them have changed their names even. In general, the principles are the same. And the reason this is useful to you is these 100 companies each has basic information about their mailing address, the titles of their CEO and other key executives, their URL, when they were founded, and what venture financing they had received at the time of publication of this report, and most importantly, who their venture capitalists are. If you're a job seeker trying to get a job at an AI company, or even more specifically, an AI company for healthcare AI, or an AI company for autonomous driving, or things like that, this is a goldmine of information because you know exactly who to call and what their names are and who to get an informational interview with if you are a job seeker, and then you can work your way down this list. There are enough companies over here and enough information about them that any serious job search for a position at an artificial intelligence company really has a tremendous amount of juice provided to it from the information collected over here. So there are profiles of over 100 such companies in this report. Obviously at Woodside Capital, I had an analyst helping me compile this directory and pull some of this data and format it. Credit to him as well. But this is where you'll get the most out of this report. And I also happen to have a hard copy of this report over here that is nicely bound with cover pages and all that. If you wanted to print out this report yourself, you could do that, or you could simply use the soft copy, whichever you prefer. But reports like this and other publications I have made are the basis for what made me a very well-known figure in the artificial intelligence sector, at least from the finance and business side of the industry, not the technical side. That's a different world altogether. A lot of software PhDs and algorithm experts in that world, but in the business side, mergers and acquisitions, venture capital, and just the big picture about the economics of AI, this was certainly a report that was very well received, and it has been read by many tens of thousands of people online. I hope you can get something out of it, and it is certainly one of the first places you should go if you're serious about making yourself some sort of participant in the artificial intelligence sector, particularly the small company and private company side of that sector. If you find this type of content interesting, I encourage you to upload this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching.